Sunny ways, my friends. Sunny ways.
Your 16 seconds are up. I'm going to ask you again because nobody believes you when you say you don't know how much money your family has got from the wheat group. You've had a month to look into that. You knew you were going to testify here. Again, how much money total have your brother, mother, and spouse received from this organization? How much?
That information has been publicly shared. But I will highlight.
Well, then tell me what it is.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
We have recently switched to drinking water bottles out of water out of when we have water bottles out of plastic. Away from plastic towards paper, like drink box water bottles sort of thing. Sorry?
The servicing costs on the debt that you're going to have to carry that you're adding to now, right?
Interest rates are at historic lows, Glenn.
There's the funds.
On the topic, I mean, in terms of your sort of strategy currently, you're obviously taking the populist pathway.
What does that mean? Oh, Justin, you're awake. You made it. Have a seat. Have a coffee. You need some. Wakey time.
Let's cut that Disney Plus subscription. So we cut it. It's only $13.99 a month that we're saving, but every little bit helps.
A lot of people would say that you're simply taking a page out of the Donald Trump book.
Like which people would say that?
Well, I'm sure a great many Canadians, but...
Like who?
I don't know who, but...
Well, you're the one who asked the question, so
yeah.
You must know somebody. Yeah, that's all that's coming off. There's nothing else coming off, yeah. I'm not Justin Trudeau here. Let's fucking go!
Let's fucking go.
Knockout!
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. It's a surprise stream, and I know I used my Friday Night Fringe intro. I still have yet to put together a different intro, so please forgive me for using the Friday Night Fringe one. I love having an awesome intro to come into, and especially for you guys to watch while you're waiting for the stream to start. So welcome in to all of you. I have to admit, we're sitting at almost 100 viewers. I didn't think at this time of night we'd have this many people popping in, but yet here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into everybody. I can see the chat now. I'm looking off to the side because, well, we're going to do something different on tonight's stream, and it's going to be kind of fun. It's going to be something different because all of you guys are always saying, hey, Derek, you sultry man of epic proportions and retro gaming, you have all of these arcades and all of these games behind you. Do you ever have time to play those? Well, the answer is yes. And in fact, I'm going to play a fun Donald Trump game with you guys here tonight on the stream. It's going to be great. It's a lot of fun. I love this game. It's one of my favorites. It's called America's Retribution, and we are going to get into it while we talk about a few things that are going on in politics. I figured this would be fun for you guys to hang out and to kind of chill and hang out with me for about an hour while I'm actually in the studio filming videos, because there are some things I want to talk about. First and foremost, usually we get off with a roll call. I'm going to skip the roll call tonight because I want to make sure we have lots of time to go over everything we're going to get into tonight. And I do see people chiming in from where they're watching. Again, folks, I'll do the roll call on Friday. And again, thank you for everybody who's chiming in. If you want to throw in where you're from, throw that up in the chat. But one thing I do have to talk about was last Friday's live stream. Now, it was pulled from YouTube. I have to apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a bit of a bad boy. I crossed TOS with YouTube and said some things I shouldn't have said in that live stream. And before I faced any kind of repercussions for my actions, I decided it'd just be best that I pull that stream from existence. So for those of you who saw it, I'm happy you were able to watch it. For those who didn't, my apologies. I usually don't conduct myself in that manner, but after spending a week in the United States and really seeing how polarizing it is between the US and Canada, I had a few things to say, and Probably should have controlled myself a little bit better, but I'm not going to apologize for telling you guys like it is. And like I said on that stream, part of my goal on this channel, part of my job and my mission statement is to always be honest and transparent with you guys. And even if that means crossing some lines from time to time, well, then so be it. I'm happy to do so long as YouTube is happy with me. At the end of the day, I see people chiming in from the United States. Speaking of which, it's great to see you guys in here. Give me an LFG in the chat if you're excited for this Donald Trump video game. I think it's a lot of fun. Again, it's called America's Retribution. It was based around Trump's last election, but it's still funny. It's a really comical game to watch. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. But there is one thing we have to talk about, and that is Joe Biden. There's a lot of news going around, a lot of news circulating, of course. We all know that Sleepy Joe has signed a letter saying that he's stepping down, that he's not going to run in the US election. Again, from a politics standpoint, I think this is very dangerous because, look, it wasn't even just dangerous with Joe Biden running. They should have done this a year ago, not just now, because the problem when you look at their election is they've got mere months to go before they're headed into their federal election. Now, Donald Trump, of course, taking a massive lead over top of Joe Biden. Again, I don't pay a ton of attention to US politics. But one thing that I'm noticing is, like, if you look at our elections, if you look at Canada's elections, if Justin Trudeau was running in the next federal election and in the middle of summer he decided he was going to step down and suddenly they were going to have a new leader and the vote was in October, well, that would spell catastrophe for that party. In fact, that would pretty much mean they're dead in the water. But Joe Biden, again, saying he was resigning, that he was I guess giving his endorsement to Kamala Harris, which is weird. Of course, she'll still have to get the vote in order to represent the Democrats in the next election. Of course, we've heard rumor circulating that Hillary is going to come back, that Big Mike or Michelle Obama is going to run as well. I don't think any of them have what it takes to beat Donald Trump at this point, again, with only a few months before the election actually gets into play. But since that letter has come out, one of the things circulating around things, and again, I was going to make a video on this, but unfortunately, when I make videos on US politics, YouTube doesn't really know what to do with me. So I thought, hey, let's do it in a live stream. That's a good way to get this info out. But apparently, Sleepy Joe signed a letter. Now, you think that if he was going to step down and refuse to run in his next election, of course he would do a live coverage or a live announcement on television with a press conference, and everybody knows that Sleepy Joe has claimed that he has the coof. No, he doesn't. The COVID's over. He doesn't have the coof. At least my personal opinion is that he does not have it. There's rumors speculating now because he hasn't been seen roughly since last week. He was taken off of his flight as he arrived in Delaware last week, and he hasn't been seen since. Now, Kamala Harris has been seen walking around the White House, and other representatives have been seen walking around. And it's really fishy that Joe Biden signs this letter where people are saying it doesn't even really look like his signature on the piece of paper that says that he's not going to run. A lot of people speculating that this was a forced stepping down, so to speak, a forced resignation, and that in fact Joe Biden may be in fact no longer on this planet, so to speak, and that maybe as we've seen Jill whisking him off stage from time to time, especially during his debates, that perhaps this is the end for Joe. I've often said that what was going on for Joe was elder abuse. He clearly was not all together when he was on stage. Good old Poopy Pants just can't seem to get it together, and I wouldn't argue that perhaps those rumors could be true, that Joe Biden is not with us anymore. But hey, let's take a second to get caught up in the comments. Let's see what you guys have to say. Mystical chiming in, Joe Biden's been made. Joe has been soft cooped. Amnesty jumping in. They ended his clone off. Hey, maybe. Mitch's journey coming in. Trump stopped the Clintons' political career in 2016, and in 2024 he stopped the kill streak. Trump has Clinton's number. Yeah, I don't think any of them have what it takes to beat Trump at this point. A weekend at Bernie's, Joe's been gone for months. Yes, absolutely. Guys, we've got almost 200 viewers in this live stream. Again, I didn't expect for things to take off like this tonight. I thought, I'm going on late. I'm streaming late. I gotta admit, I'm very taken back that so many of you are here to watch. Let's get down to what I thought was going to be funny and going to be part of this live stream tonight. Let's get into the streaming of this Donald Trump game, America's Retribution. this is a fun one. We're going to. Oh, hold on. I gotta hide this little bar at the bottom here. Are you guys getting audio from the game? Can you let me know? This is the first time I've done a game stream on this platform. I want to make sure you guys are getting audio with this. They need him to bite the dust and get his name. Is it a Contra clone? Yes, Mystical, it is. Oh, you guys are getting audio. Awesome. Thank you, Shane. Thank you for letting me know. Let's get into the game. I'm gonna try to keep up with the chat as best as I can. But let's get into the
I'm not going to pay for that, quote, effing wall. So if you don't get an actual check for $8 or $10 or $12 billion, whatever it will cost, how are you going to make them pay for the wall?
I will.
Do I think they'll cheat?
And the wall
Yes.
just got 10 feet taller, believe me. Just got 10 feet taller.
Yeah, without a doubt, they're going to cheat. It's totally going to happen. It's inevitable. It's totally going to happen. Now, keep in mind, this game is actually it surrounds Donald Trump's first election with Mike Pence. So there's going to be a lot of references to his first run. But again, this game's a classic, and I thought, what better way to talk about Trump than streaming a really funny video game with you guys? Let's get into it. Well, this fake news is really getting out of hand. Kim Jong just followed me on Twitter. That's fantastic. The mobs are attacking the White House. I've had it with these beta punks. Melania, gas the jet. I'll handle this personally. Here we go. Donald's going to get business done. We all know one thing about Donald Trump. He gets down to business. Canadian guy with a $5 super chat. I'm going to acknowledge that in a minute. Let me get into the game here. Or maybe I've got time to. The game hasn't loaded. I knew Biden had lost it when he referred to Zelensky as President Putin and Harris as Vice President Trump. Yes, we covered that on the channel, and I couldn't agree more. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Let's get into the game. Of course, we're going after Antifa. Now, you don't want to touch the liquor. Do you know Donald Trump? Oh, we want a rocket launcher. Rocket launcher. Oh, that's pizza. We're gonna get the CNN chopper. And there's a WikiLeaks bonus we'll take. We gotta get rid of that fake news chopper. All right, we'll just keep moving here with the Donald. Oh, we got Mike Pence.
Make America great again.
We will, in fact, make America great again. Let's go. Oh, that Antifa guy. There we go. Got to employ this guy. Oh, I'll take a shotgun.
Shotgun. Winning big league.
Winning big league. Let's go. We need some American steel. We don't want the booze. Stay away from the booze, Donald.
I love babies.
I love babies, says Donald. Let's go. Guys, I'm going to try to get into the chat as soon as I can. This game's got no pause button. So you can't kill those guys with regular bullets, and I'm not going to waste my grenades. Yes! Oh, we got a Diet Coke! Give me a bonus, guys. Ooh.
America first!
Alright, we got the Trump tank. Of course, we're just gonna mow everybody down. Take care of the fake news, let's go. Oh, it's a safe space. Man, Trump just mows everybody down. He doesn't care. Man. They keep dropping booze. They really want me to get on the liquor.
Passive-aggressive trust fund babies, or as they're better known, Antifa.
Alright, we gotta be careful. I don't want to die here before we get to the boss.
Order! I love baby.
What we got here? More bullets. Alright, we'll take out the next safe space. McDonald's French fries. You all know the Donald loves McDonald's. Alright, it's boss time. Stormy Daniels.
You want some?
Look, she's throwing hotel room keys at us. She wants the Donald. Oh, we died. We didn't. Oh, damn, twice.
People think I'm controversial.
Alright, we got Stormy.
I am a nasty woman.
How do you get this game? This game was available for a short time on an indie site. I'm not so sure if it's available anymore, like it isn't on Steam or anything.
Americanism, not globalism, will be our credo.
Alright, here we go, bonus stage in the Donald jet. We gotta collect money for America. If you guys didn't know, Trump's jet is equipped with all sorts of artillery. And he often cruises the skies looking for bags of money. This is no exaggeration to Donald's real life. Oh no, the plane's going down. Oh, time was up. Never mind. Why did we get 0? That's weird. All right, let me get into the chat for a second here before we continue with the game, shall we? Let's get caught up in the chat. Oh, Let's Go had to step out. So sorry. Thank you for coming in. I know you're not here anymore, but I appreciate you popping in. CNN choppers, yes, those are great. The Karen Giants, yes, the pro-choicers are funny. No wonder Warner Brothers Discover is broke. They all want their money back on attack choppers. There we go. There we go. Trump is so great. He got his own game. Biden's jealous. Absolutely he is. They need Hulk Hogan in this game. Again, asking how do you get this game again? I don't think it's available. I don't know anymore. Like, I got this game a couple of years ago. Was that Stormy Daniels? Yes, it was Stormy Daniels throwing lawsuits. You didn't give Stormy Daniels hush money. You did. No, we didn't do hush money. We didn't do hush money. Bad Anger Management, my brother jumping in. Your game streaming again just tonight. It's just something fun we're doing because it's a Donald Trump game. Welcome into the stream, bro. It's good to see you. Again, Bigly good. So much winning. I've never seen so much winning. Believe me, it's great. I love winning. Winning's amazing. Let's get back to it, shall we? The game gets rapidly harder as you go on. The first level's kind of just meh, and then the game just steps it up a notch. So we got to go to Africa, apparently. President bags a dinosaur. Okay, well, we all know how Donald likes to go hunting. At least his son goes hunting. There's. Could you imagine? Could you imagine Trump bagging a dinosaur? It is huge. Canadian guy, this game is huge. It's huge. All right, let's go. God, I can almost die and just... Stormy Daniels took it out of me. The controls are really shaky in the game too, so it's not even... Oh, we fell down the pit. Now this is always hard with these things because they roll around all over the place and there's no way to kill them, I don't think. Now grenades don't even do it.
We have losers. We have losers. We have
Trump gets
people
impeached.
that don't have it.
Oh no, I'm fired. Oh, we're fired. That's no good. We're fired. Let's continue, shall we? Let's see. I think you're fired. All right, let's go. Now we got some rest. We're good to go. It's those damn butterflies that fly in like that. Give me another butterfly, I know it. Is that Mike Pence again? Let's take Mike Pence.
Make America great again.
They should do a patch for this game and bring in Hulk Hogan.
Law and order.
Yeah, we need some ammo. Trump did bag a dinosaur, I guess. There we go. I love trophies. I love trophies in my trophy room.
I think a pterodactyl they had killed once too.
I think it's inappropriate.
Pence's rockets can kill those. Okay, there we go. So we want to keep Mike Pence for as long as possible here. Oh no! Illegal immigration. Mike Pence. That's not good. Careful, Donald. Oh, I went too early. Oh, holy crap. Look at that, we've died twice already. I've never liked this one.
Rocket launcher. Law and order.
We got a baby.
I love babies.
Come on, give me an extra life. Give me, bullets. Oh, we got Mike Pence back.
Make America great again.
I mean, Mike Pence doesn't really show his face any other time. So why not here? Look at that. You can't even do that. Who's this?
He's a stone cold killer.
The American dream.
It's not that the game gets tricky. The problem with the game is that it's janky controls. And I think you're only allowed so many continues. Let's try again. Let's see if we can go again. Careful of Pence in the later levels, he might shoot you in the back. Is there a flamethrower? No. If it were more like Metal Slug, there would be a flamethrower, but no, there's not. It would be handy though.
Shotgun.
So you don't want to fall down these holes either. I got holes in different area codes. But Trump doesn't mess around when it comes to butterflies. No, we don't have Mike Pence this time. We're getting trophies. Winning big league. Oh, that one got us.
I don't think they like
Donald Trump killing this woolly mammoth.
Well, I honestly think it's wrong.
Hey, what's going on, Snatch? Welcome into Oh, look at this. I can't kill this one because my grenades won't reach it. They hit the ceiling. So what do? I just got to take the damage, I guess? See, and they go twice. Even though I'm dead, I still take damage. That's not very fair. And there's spikes down here, so I got to be careful. I take damage. Donald runs pretty slow. Maybe he should cut off the McDonald's. Look at that. There's no way to get around.
I don't think they like me very much.
We're down to our last life again. This isn't good.
Beautiful babies, beautiful parents.
Come on. Okay. WikiLeaks. Roger Stone, what you got for us?
That trying to stop Trump is like stepping in front of a hurtling freight train.
All right, let's go. We're doing better this time. Although those little bug things are up here again, if I remember correctly. And again, you can't throw your grenades or kill them. Landmines. Man, they're really up for Trump here. They don't like him in Africa. Oh, that shouldn't have got me. Come on.
The American dream is dead.
We're fired. We did it again. We're fired. That level's hard. Chat, should Unacceptable Fringe play Rust with a few friends? No, I'm not playing Rust, Snatch, no matter how bad you want me to play Rust. Although I would play Fortnite online. I do play a lot of Fortnite, but you're fired. You're fired. Can we still continue? Oh, it's still allowing us to continue. The game controls are a bit rough. It's still fun, and that's why we're playing it, because it's still a funny game. But the controls, I'm not gonna lie, they are very stiff. Like, his running movement is really slow, and the shooting is very janky. It needed like a rolling dodge or something like that, or some way of regaining health more often, because this level is very unforgettable. And it's only the second stage. Like, the first stage is a walk through the park, and then this stage breaks it up to 11. And like, look at that. Their bullets can go through the sandbags, but mine can't. Oh, I fucking fell. God damn it. We got some health at least. I don't like that either, that those silly grenades are the only things that can kill those, but you have to be like precise. And they move around so frequently. Let's see if this guy gives us a bonus. Full auto. Let's wait for that bug to come back, shall we? It's gonna hide in there because I can't throw my grenade at it. You see that? It takes off. That's what we wanted. Slow and steady. Now look at this one. You can't kill this one because the grenades hit the ceiling. So you have to take the damage. Yeah,
people think I'm controversial.
That sucks. That's just bad game design. Yeah, look at that. I can't kill him. And I'm going to take double damage because you can't jump over him here.
Look, Trump is bringing millions of new people to the Republican Party.
Illegal immigration.
Oh, don't do that. Look at that. Fucking ate shit again.
We don't have.
I'm not going to play the same level over and
anymore.
over, but that's. There we go. That is the America's Retribution, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what you guys thought of that. Maybe I can find more political games to play on stream, or maybe we just play some good old-fashioned retro games on stream at some point. I don't know if you guys know this about me. I used to stream retro games back in the day before I even got into YouTube. I grew up in the 80s and I used to play Nintendo all the time. So I'm very knowledgeable about Nintendo. And Yeah, it was always fun to do those things. I always enjoyed doing those live streams. I used to stream on Twitch 4 days a week before I got into YouTube. But Mystical hit me right in the heartstrings. Would you consider a Mega Man marathon? I would love to do a Mega Man 2 run. Out of anything, I can speed run that game. I love it. It's probably my favorite Nintendo game of all time, next to Castlevania. I absolutely love Mega Man. So Mystical, don't tease me like that. Um, was that keyboard controls, or do you have a controller for PC? I do have a controller. I was using an Xbox One controller. It's just such a janky game, but it's funny, right? Like that was kind of the funny thing, was to come in into a live stream again, just to hang out with you guys, do something fun. I mean, I could take a brief stand away for a second. And I mean, if you guys want me to run a retro game and hang out here and chat with you guys, I can do that. I don't mind doing that, but it kind of takes away from the theme of this stream. Maybe we'll just talk politics for a little while, and we'll do a retro stream another time, um, when it's more just kind of a chill and chat. But let's talk a little bit about what's happening with Joe Biden, because that's circling a lot about what's going to happen in the Canadian realm of politics. We've seen that with now Joe Biden stepping down. Donald Trump, or not Donald Trump, Justin Trudeau is rumored to be doing the same thing. Although the problem with the rumor mill with Donald Trump is that we're hearing lots of things going around, especially within the communities and circles that I talk with, where one minute Chrystia Freeland might be taking up the mantle and Trudeau stepping down. And then other rumors are speculating that why do I keep saying Donald Trump? I'm so caught into that game. Other rumors are circulating that Justin Trudeau is in fact going to fire Chrystia Freeland and bring in carbon tax Carney to be the new finance minister, and kind of secure Trudeau's glide to get to next year's election, even though everybody wants him to step down. There's a lot of rumors circulating right now. There's so many things going around. People are now saying that Trudeau might step down following Biden. Again, I've often said US politics often reflect what happens in Canadian politics. So it's really tough to know where we're going to go right now in terms of the political spectrum, at least in Canada, because there really is no definitive um, news coming out that really says what's happening. Chrystia Freeland's been grilled so many times lately as to whether or not Justin Trudeau is going to step down, whether she's going to step down from her position as finance minister and be replaced by Carney, whether she's going to run for PM. They're all just kind of giving word salad. But again, if the media is asking questions, then there's things that they know that we don't know, because again, their contacts are a little more willing to speak than mine are. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Let's get caught up in the chat here. Let's see what you guys think. Trudeau's too narcissistic and deluded to quit. I agree. But again, the problem is that every time I'm checking my news sources, anytime I'm talking with anybody in the political community, they're telling me, well, I keep hearing that he's going to go, or I keep hearing this, I keep hearing that. And of course I report on it, but then something else comes out that contradicts that rumor. And then whatever we report on that comes out through the media gets contradicted somewhere else on some other front. So it's really hard to know where to go. It's crazy. What if Freeland throws JT under the bus? I don't know how she could at this point, because really nothing that Trudeau's done sticks in terms of having him removed from office. Although one thing I will speculate on is the fact that he has actually left for vacation at an undisclosed location in British Columbia. We all know he's gone to Tofino. He goes there every time he goes on vacation. It's no surprise to anybody. The question is Sophie in tow, and is she mooching off Canadian taxpayers once again? I'll be curious to see the expense reports when that happens. Secret Service director will be guarding Doritos once again. There was rumor going around again that she was going to resign today. Still hasn't. So again, I'm curious if she's going to. Again, maybe Joe Biden stepping down is the first domino in the house of cards to go down, so to speak. I know that statement kind of overrides the other, but I miss my Sega Genesis. Still have the OG Nintendo and N64. I plug them in every once or twice a year with an M card. Mario 3, Sonic, my favorite games ever. Super Monaco Grand Prix 2. I loved all those games. That's cool. I love to see other retro fanatics in here. Neil saying I had Intellivision was really fun. I have an Intellivision still. I have. Let's see. I'm going to look on my wall here at all my systems because I've got them on my back shelf. I've got what's called the Coleco Telstar Arcade, which is kind of like a Pong system that looked like a triangle. You had a steering wheel on one side, revolver for light gun games on the other side, and then a Pong system on the third side. Of course, I've got my childhood NES up there, as well as my childhood Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Sega Master System, Sega CD, Sega 32X, Sega Saturn, all sitting up there. My Intellivision and my ColecoVision are up there. What else is sitting up there that I can see from here? I've got a Japanese NES Famicom, TurboGrafx 16, my Virtual Boy. I got a lot of consoles sitting on display in my basement. There's no end to Arthur. I know he's going to say it. I know. Get your Dragon's Lair back behind you, Derek. Listen, I don't have room for it anywhere with the Donkey Kong sitting there. There's nothing I can do, Arthur. I love the Dragon's Lair as much as you do. There's nothing I can do. Do I have a Sega Nomad? No, but I do have the CDX, which is a very rare version of the Sega CD. I do not have a Nomad. I've never had any interest in one. I had a chance to get one at one point, but I just didn't get one. I have a 24-inch tube TV in my back room for my retro boxes, and drumroll, a working VCR. So I have multiple tube TVs in storage, ranging from 17 to 32 inch, all because I love my light gun games. I want to be able to use my light gun games, and the Power Glove on my Nintendo. I love the Power Glove. It's so bad, if you know that reference. But you can't use those with a current generation television. So I've always kept tube TVs for that. You need to make room. Arthur, I'm working actually. I've spoken on other streams. I'm actually in the process of considering moving. So we're probably going to make some room, because one of the things we've been looking at in a new home is, in fact, not only room for a proper YouTube studio, but space for all of my insane collectibles and arcades. It's kind of overrun, this basement. Like, often people say, "Hey, is that your YouTube studio?" It's technically my family room that I broadcast from. Every time I make a video, I haul out my camera, my lighting, all my equipment, wheeled out on a desk, and I put it in the middle of my family room and film the videos here. So I really don't even have the space for a dedicated YouTube area, unfortunately. So this is kind of where I chose to film. And I like that I have this background, despite some people's opinions sometimes saying, "Hey, it's not really professional to talk politics with video arcades behind you." I chalk it up to jealousy. I really don't think that what sits in your room with you defines who you are as a person. I enjoy talking politics with you guys. And I enjoy that, despite how complicated life can get sometimes. I think the message I try to convey is that even when you're an adult, you can still have fun. You can still have your moments where you can enjoy your life. A lot of people say, "Oh, you're thirsty for nostalgia and you're not willing to let go of the past." No, I just enjoy it. Some people like sports, some people like fixing cars. I like arcades and I like video games. That's where I relax. That's how I kick back. And I do a lot of this stuff with my kids. My kids are very much into retro gaming. They enjoy playing those games, because during lockdowns, retro games, I mean, I've got, as I named off all those consoles, I have more consoles on top of that. I probably got just about every home video game console, as well as games for them from every system from about 1978 all the way to current. So during lockdowns, of course, my kids and I would go through my video game collection. We'd play games together. And when these arcades started coming out, these 3/4 scales, like you see behind me with the Star Wars machine, we started building those and collecting those, because it was something fun to do during lockdowns. We would build the machines together as a family, and then my kids could enjoy the fruits of their labor, so to speak, by playing whatever the newest game was that we got in the house afterwards. So it was kind of a fun way of passing time during the pandemic. In fact, one of the things they used to love before lockdowns was going to places like Chuck E. Cheese. And of course, you couldn't do that during the lockdowns. So we actually went to our local dollar store, and you can actually buy the same tickets that come out of those machines. So we used to have game nights where we'd buy a couple prizes from the dollar store. And again, the kids would play games, and it was, if you get the high score, you get so many tickets and things like that. We did a lot of fun things to try and keep my kids sane during lockdowns, especially when they couldn't see their families. And again, I've spoken about my mother's cancer and watching her pass during lockdowns and all the restrictions we had with seeing her. I didn't really want to let my kids into what was happening at that time, because they're very young. And this was a good way to distract them. It was a good way to keep them away from all the negativity that was going on during the pandemic. And despite all that effort, they still have multiple issues from those lockdowns today. It's been crazy. You have a Chuck E. Cheese in Alberta? We have one in Calgary, and it's up in the northeast end of town. We don't go there very often, but Neil says never answered. Who never answered one question properly? Did I miss something there? I might have missed something. How's the smoke in Alberta today? I just saw that. I haven't seen too much in Calgary yet, although it was starting to come in the evening in our end of town. Only seen them in the U.S. So when I was in Washington State last week, I saw a Chuck E. Cheese, and it was actually closing down. It was locked up. They were moving everything out of it. I actually took my kids for the first time. So like if you're in Canada, again, I don't know different places. I know in Alberta they have this place called the Rec Room. It's owned by Cineplex Cinemas. So they it's basically a redemption arcade and restaurant, but kind of like an adult barcade. But people take their kids there. We have one of those in town. I know there's one in Edmonton that we've gone to with the family. So I don't know if you have a rec room in your town. I've been to one in Winnipeg, so I do believe they're Canada wide. But one thing I did with my kids while in the States was we went to a place called Dave and Buster's, which is essentially the American version of the rec room. What a place that was. It was so much fun to go there with my kids. Very expensive. And one of the things that I found out when we were there that, again, was a little alarming. Maybe somebody can help me out in the chat with this. When we ordered a burger, I ordered a burger from, like, they had this Dave and Buster's burger. And I thought it was weird because it came with like jam on it and stuff. But it was a really weird sounding burger. And I'm like, look, we're on holidays. I'll give it a whirl. But they asked, how do you want your burger prepared? In terms of medium, well done. I've never been asked that with a burger. Usually you want your hamburger meat cooked, don't you? Like, it was kind of weird. And in fact, I said, well, I'll take it medium well, thinking it wasn't a big deal, and got very sick that evening. Maybe it was the water. I don't know. I just found it really weird. Something really weird. But I've never had a burger like that before. Rec Room ain't bad. Got one up the street from me in Burntwood Mall in Burnaby. There you go. So Dave and Buster's was awesome. So they have a machine there that I ended up schooling, and we got a lot of tickets from it. In fact, it was an insane night. It was a lot of fun. Mystical saying there's an arcade in Okotoks, something to keep in mind when it's time to move. So we did talk about. I've tried to go to that. Which I've tried to go. I think it's an arcade / escape room. I've seen it down in Okotoks. I've almost popped in a few times, but it's Wayne. Did I miss the conversation about Biden? Yeah, we kind of started off with Biden at the beginning of the stream. I'm going to circle back to it. I'm just kind of answering. Again, I called it kind of a chill and chat, so I'm answering viewer questions right now and kind of scrolling through that as well. So believe me, we're going to circle back around to Biden. When did Bullwinkle's close in Calgary? I'm not too sure. I believe it was early 90s, maybe. I wasn't living in Calgary when it closed. So it opened in the 80s. I lived in Calgary until 1985. Or 1984, sorry. Late 1984. It was still around when I moved to Winnipeg as a kid, and then when I moved back here in 1995, it was gone. So it left somewhere between 1990 or 1984 and 1995. If you want a burger medium, you need fudge rocker. They ground it fresh before cooking it. Or are you saying Fuddrucker? Maybe it's Fuddrucker. I'm sorry about your mother. My father passed suddenly in 2022. We were talking on the phone at noon on Super Bowl Sunday. Excited to see Matt Stafford. He took a game nap, and that was it. Man, I'm really sorry to hear that. That's tough. Pandemic was hard on everybody. And I've often talked about, I don't like making depression streams or sad streams. And a lot of people who watch these streams regularly know my story that my mother was diagnosed in 2019 with mesothelioma. And of course, there's no cure for that. We had a discussion that year of if she wanted to take chemotherapy to try and extend her life, or essentially just let the cancer take hold and call it a day. Now, at the time, my wife and I were pregnant with our third child. My mom wanted to be around for him to be born, and she decided to go the route of chemotherapy. Unfortunately, the problem was is that when the pandemic hit, like a lot of things happen when chemotherapy comes into play, and we were told you're not allowed to go over and visit because her immune system is compromised from the chemotherapy. If she gets sick, that's the end of things. That rapidly progresses the cancer. She could be gone within a matter of days. So you cannot go over to the house, especially during lockdown. So the entire time my mother was taking these treatments, we weren't allowed to go over to the house. We weren't allowed to visit. We weren't allowed to see her. Um, my father, in his late 60s, spent the day running up and down stairs, getting medications, giving her whatever she needed, basically looking after her without any help until probably a few months before the end when the Alberta health system offered in home nursing to come by to give her her medications, to check up on her up until the time she took palliative care. The downside when she went into palliative care or hospice, you essentially go knowing that you're not coming out. And that was in the middle of the pandemic. That was in September of 2020. And she was there for roughly 3.5 weeks. And they had very strict rules. You know, you're not allowed more than one person in the room. That you can't. You know, we'd hate for the person dying to get COVID. That was really unfortunate that they put those rules in there. Every time you walked into this hospice, and I never blame the staff. I never once blamed the staff because they sympathized. They were very good. This palliative care home in Okotoks, Alberta, which is just south of Calgary, fantastic facility. In fact, we donated a significant amount of money to them after my mom passed. Um, to assist them in their endeavors because they were just so great. But um, they, of course, had to follow protocols. And the day my mom died, like we knew it was coming because she lost consciousness the day before. Her feet were starting to lose color, and the doctors had told me that day that she's probably within the next 24 hours going to go. And I didn't want to leave my father. I promised my mom that I would look after my dad. My parents were a staple for how a marriage should work. They never fought in front of us as kids. They never argued. My father put my mother on a pedestal her whole life. She always came first. Family always came first. There was nothing my dad wouldn't ever do for my mother. Um, she was worried when she was going to go. When she decided to go to palliative care, she told me, I need you to look after him because he doesn't handle death very well. And I agreed. Of course, I'll take care of him. I'll look after him. She says, holidays, things with the kids, make sure he's around, make sure he's present. Even if he says he doesn't want to be there, make sure you're there. I really don't want him to struggle. And of course, I made that promise to my mother. I said, I'll look after him. But on the day she died, I pulled up to the home and, of course, the usual COVID questionnaire of, are you exhibiting symptoms? Are you having any issues? And they had those temperature guns to take your forehead temperature with. And it was just, I don't chalk it up to fate, but it was just one of those times, they go to take the temperature. The gun had no battery life in it. And the nurse said, I'm going to go find another battery, left. And I stood there for about 15 minutes while she scurried around because they can't let you in because of government protocols. 5 minutes into waiting, I got the phone call from my dad. Now, my mom's room was on the other side of the wall from where I was standing. She was 5 feet away. So 5 minutes into that 15-minute wait, I get the phone call that my dad said she just died and she's gone. And I had to stand in the entryway of this palliative care, soaking that in, unable to leave. You can't even go out the building because they're still doing the COVID questionnaire, the procedures. Standing in this skinny hallway, knowing that I just lost my mom, and the promise that I made to her was broken before I had the chance to even fulfill it because I wasn't there. He was in the room with her alone. which part of me says is good for him. But I always felt like I failed. I felt like I failed my mom. For the longest time, I carried that guilt. And for the longest time, and still to this day, I say, I will never, never, never give amnesty. I will never forgive the government for what they did. My view on the world changed that day. All the people who said, you're dirty, you should stay in your homes, or you're selfish, the people who snitched, the sheep that gave in so easily, I will never forgive, because they were part of the problem. They were the reason that this went on for so long. This is where I talked about the polarization between Canada and the United States. In the US, in many states in the US, people were living their lives a few weeks after lockdowns were requested, because they just said, no, I'm not going to stay in my house. Stores were open again. People could go out because the government in certain states knew they couldn't control people. Look at what happened in Florida. They just said, nah, go ahead. You're good. People got back to normal. In Canada, everybody bent over. Everybody bent over, and you were criminalized for just having an opinion. My father was one of those people that judged. I've often said I had to lie and tell him that I took the jab just so he'd see his grandkids. That's terrible. Now, his viewpoints have changed since then, but he's a man in his early 70s now. He was scared. He was losing my mother. He came from the 1950s generation that you can trust the government to some extent. And what a scary time that was. And I know that with my story, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one that experienced that. So I'm not going to sit here and have a pity party and say, poor me. But what I will give to advice for anybody who suffered those losses during the pandemic, even after the pandemic, when you look at the causes behind it, if it's the government, if it's incurable diseases, if it's anything else, do yourself a favor. Let it go. Really let it go. I carried what happened to my mom around like a bag for almost 3.5 years. One thing I don't really talk about a lot on this channel, and I haven't gone into much, is that I mean, people know that I have a social anxiety complex. People know that I have severe social anxiety, crippling social anxiety. In fact, you'll notice sometimes when I'm looking at the camera, I can't look directly at it. That's part of my social anxiety and post-traumatic stress disorder from some issues when I was a kid. But manic depression, severe depression runs in my family. And for weeks after my mom passed, there were days I couldn't even get out of bed. There were days I couldn't function. And then I wrote How the Prime Minister Stole Freedom, because I kept thinking about how much I hated the government. Not just Justin Trudeau, but the government. And how could I take a shot at them without being aggressive, without drawing negative attention to me? I lost friends during the pandemic because of my stance on the jab. I had family members tell me to never call them again because of my stance on the jab. And I was thinking, how could I put them in their place? And I really didn't expect things to take off the way they did with How the Prime Minister Stole Freedom, but they did, and we were very lucky, very blessed. And I was often told, even by well-known people in the political world, that you didn't just fire a warning shot, you sank the ship. You embarrassed them. And I was very proud of that. I'm still proud of that. No matter what I do in life, it wasn't my pound of flesh. It wasn't vengeance. It wasn't payback. But it was just a nice feeling. The day I went into the House of Commons and saw Justin Trudeau look at my face and get up and leave. I've never been that happy in my life to see somebody upset to see me. But I carried that bag for a long time, and I hadn't let go of it until recently. All this hatred towards the government, all this hatred towards a disease, towards lost time, the what ifs. You know, Back to the Future is one of my favorite movies of all time, no pun intended. And I always sit around, if I had a DeLorean and go back in time, what would I change? I'd probably tell myself not to carry that bag. And I see it all the time in the comments. Anytime I talk about what's happened to my mom, anytime I talk about where that took us. And I see people say it happened to us too. It happened to my friend. We lost family members. I mean, we saw it earlier in the chat. People lost family members just suddenly. And there's always anger that comes with that. There's anger when you watch politics and the person you wanted to win doesn't win, or you see scandals, or you see a lot of negative things happen. And it just gets me these days to see how many people carry all of that. I talked about this on Friday in more of a negative fashion when I was talking about people who say Pierre's going to save them. And I said, save yourself. But some people carry that bag so far behind them that they're putting all their eggs in one basket with a politician. And that's their choice to make. That is their decision. If they feel that that's what they have to hold on to move forward in life, hold on to that. But let go of that bag, because you're going to carry that bag for a long time. I destroyed a lot of things in my household with my family, with my children. Made a lot of things happen that I wish didn't. All because I made it about me, because I carried that bag, because I carried that hate. And as we head into our next federal election, as we head into whether it be later this year or early next year, vote, but vote for your policies. Vote for what you think is going to make your life better, and drop the bag. Whatever happens is going to happen, but the hate has to go. It's got to go. I've noticed very quickly over the last little while that when you stop looking at all the things that are stopping you from moving forward, and you start saying, what can I work with right now? Yes, the world sucks. Yes, things are unaffordable. Yes, bills suck. There's very little money. It's hard to get by. I know, we're suffering the same things in our house right now. I mean, we're talking about selling our house just because we've looked at what our mortgage payments are going to be when we re-sign next year. And we start asking ourselves, why are we going to pay that amount just to stay here? Like, we don't want to leave, but we have to look at what's best for our family, what's more affordable. And luckily, with the equity we've built, we've found a place to move where we can get more house for less mortgage and be out of debt. Like, not out of debt, but less financial obligations. Life would get easier. We're very fortunate to be in that position. But those are the situations where I could turn around and say, I hate this government. I hate the carbon tax. I hate everything that's going on in my life that's negative. Instead of saying, how do we fix what we have then? How do we work with what we've got? How do we make the best of a bad situation? The left can't seem to find the ability to do those things. You'll notice that when Donald Trump won the election on his first term, you had the infamous girl screaming "no" in the middle of a public square. people, celebrities saying, we got to get them out. We got to do this. It's Russia, Russia, Russia. They just can't let it go. Those are people carrying the biggest bags behind them. And that's where I said Friday, I probably should have intricated it better. But when I was talking about people who put Pierre Poilievre in the line of he's going to save us, and me trying to say that you save yourself. It's not to say you can't have those views, but you're in charge of your life. You're in charge of how bad your situation is. There's not always an answer right away, but as a guy who was sitting in his house wondering in 2022, how am I going to pay my bills next month? To all of a sudden getting flooded with phone calls saying, your book went viral. How do we get an interview with you? Come on our show and talk to us. To having some real financial doors open for us. I'm here to tell you that anything is possible. And again, I'll take a quote from Back to the Future. You can do anything if you put your mind to it. You can change the course of the ship that is your life anytime you want to. You have the keys. How will we get out of this? It's not a matter of how we get out of it. It's how you get out of whatever you're suffering with, whatever you're dealing with. Again, we asked the same question in our house. How do we get out of what we're struggling with right now? My wife and I bought our first home in 2015. I was 35 years old when I bought my first house. That's how hard it was to get a house, even for my generation. Got our first home, which is this house, in 2015. And we bought it. Again, I don't like talking money and stuff, but we bought our house for $400,000. Now, $4,000 started out as, or $400,000 started out as roughly $1,800 in mortgage payments. Over time, as things have changed, as new contracts have been signed every 5 years with our interest rates, we're now looking at next year and saying, well, here's the interest rate now, here's where they're projecting it's going to be. Whether it's in that ballpark, our mortgage payment's probably going to go up to $2,400 a month when we re-sign for 5 years next year. So what we did in that situation was, how do we get out of this? Well, we looked at it and said, why are we paying $2,400 a month to stay in a city where we're not happy? So we started looking at our options. Where can we go? Where would we be happy? If we could go anywhere, where would we go? So again, instead of saying, I hate the government, I hate the interest rates, what could we do if we wanted to? Now, I can't move to Belize, but we started looking at other places in Alberta and saying, oh, now my wife picked out a place called Spruce Grove, which is just, I believe it's west of Edmonton. And she was looking at houses there saying, we can buy a 2,300 square foot home for $500,000. And with the equity we've built on our house, we'd only be carrying a $200,000 mortgage. Not bad. And we only have to move 3 hours away, right? So again, that particular situation was how we got out of that. We start looking at, instead of hating all the things that we're dealing with, how do we deal with what we have? How do we get ahead? Right? There's a lot of people that say, well, I'm not in that situation. I don't own a house. I rent. Get together with some friends that rent and maybe say, hey, maybe we all go in on a house. Maybe we go all in on something to make our lives easier. I'm not saying that those are the answers, but I'm saying that you have to find what you can work with to make a better situation instead of relying on others to give it to you. If I could put it in the best analogy ever, I used to be told when I played hockey growing up that nobody's going to give you the puck. If you want the puck, if you want to be the all-star, you got to chase it. You got to go after it. You got to get it. And once you do, good things happen. It's the same in life. That if you want that job, if you want a house, if you want a better outlook on life, those things are not out of reach, so long as you look in the right places to get those things, if that makes sense. Calgary's become a cesspool of filth and shame. Colin, you've hit it right on the head, and that was part of the problem with the mayoral run and the reason that I bowed out of it. I tried to get volunteers, boots on the ground, people together. I had to get those volunteers together before I could campaign and raise funds. The funds were not going to be the problem. I had plenty of higher up people in Calgary that were willing to support my run for mayor. But I looked at it and said, if I can't even get volunteers, like everybody wants to talk about change, but very few want to do anything about it. If I can't get those volunteers, I'm just wasting people's money. And not only that, I was warned by people who are in City Hall that I talked to. There are people who are going to stop you, who are going to make your run very, very difficult because you pose a threat. I've got 3 kids and a wife. And the last thing I would want to do is put them in a position where life becomes difficult for them. So I did what was noble and dropped out. I said, I'm just going to call it and not vote split and promote somebody that I feel is worthy of running. But Calgary is so far beyond saving, I believe, nothing is going to change at this point. Colin says, I grew up there and I loved it. I've been in Calgary since 1995. And when I moved here, it was a booming city, a place of opportunity, a pillar of the oil and gas industry where anybody who was willing to get their hands dirty could get ahead. Dirty in terms of get to work. It's not that way anymore. It's not even a race thing, but it's happened in Vancouver. It's happened in other major cities. We're seeing it in Calgary now, where a lot of East Indian workers are coming in. They get management jobs, then they only hire East Indian employees. There's a lot of people in Calgary who can't get ahead right now. My wife is seeing it currently in the oil and gas industry. There's just no getting ahead unless you want to go by unconventional means and, stabbing people in the back. It's just not feasible anymore. There's no playing fair and getting ahead. Companies used to promote from within. They would educate people, pay for their university, help them get up. They don't do that anymore. They bring in the cheapest, lowest bidder to work in these jobs. The mayor has let this city go to crap, just like a lot of other cities in Canada. It's all part of the plan. Now, Spruce Grove going to be any better for us? I don't know. I mean, again, it's just outside Edmonton, and Edmonton's all NDP voters. But my wife looked at it and said it's small town life. It's away from a major city, even though it's still close, and it's affordable. And I don't want to raise my kids in Calgary. I just can't. So I said, okay. One of the biggest caveats that I've never realized since everything took off with YouTube, books, and everything else is that, and part of what drew me out of the mayor race was that I've messed up a lot of things at home. I've gotten so involved in work that it's pulled me apart from my family. I started bringing my wife into streams and things like that because I lost sight of what was important to me. Because when I get into things like YouTube, when I get into work, when I get into books, when I get into anything I'm doing, the mayor run, I obsess. I have a very obsessive nature where I want to really get heavily involved and know all the ins and outs and understand things, how they work. And part of it was, am I going to choose the mayor run over my family? No. No. My family wanted to move. My wife doesn't want to be in Calgary. I give that to my wife. My wife is my absolute universe. I love my wife to death. I've known my wife for almost 30 years, since I was 16 years old. And those have been the best 30 years of my life. So she asks, she receives. That's the way I run it. Even if it burned this channel to the ground tomorrow, if it meant the end of everything for Unacceptable Fringe, just to put a smile on her face, I'd give it to her in a heartbeat. It was in place and carried on from the previous mayor. Absolutely. Nenshi absolutely put that in place. By never giving up and being always ready to fight, we got this for the left, and it will crumble. They already are. Absolutely. Absolutely. Had family that moved to Grand Cache. They are in BC now. Winter was a wee bit too wild there for them. Well, hey, that's the way it goes. I mean, look, we talked about winter if we move to Spruce Grove. It's a lot colder than it is in Calgary because Calgary at least gets breaks from the mountains with the Chinook winds. Spruce Grove doesn't get that. You're too cute / hashtag wifey. Come on, don't give my wife credit. Don't listen. I've got so many friends who have been divorced, who are on their second, some are on their third or more marriage. And they always ask me, like, how do you and your wife make it work? I always tell them, we know each other inside out. She was my best friend before we got together. Then we moved in together. Then we got married. And I wouldn't trade her for anything. She allows me to be myself. All this shit behind me. I mean, she says all the time, you can do this as much as you like, so long as everybody in the house is looked after and we're not going into debt. She allows me to be me and says all the time, I love being married to a big kid. And she's so thrilled that she can have her job while I stay home and raise our 3 children while also doing stuff like this. But it's because we have that working connection that anytime something goes wrong in this house, we talk to each other. Anytime something needs to be done, we talk to each other. We communicate. I always say it's a lot like Hell's Kitchen. You know, when all the chefs aren't communicating with Gordon Ramsay, everything falls apart. But when they work in unison, when they work as a team, everything works together. And that's kind of the way we keep things in this house, is that we're always working as a team. We always do it together. And we consider each other that, you know, whenever somebody's down, the other picks them up and we move forward. I hope that everyone in this video, everybody watching this, can find or has the same in their lives. It's very important. And I owe that to my parents. They showed me the structure of a good marriage. I see so many married couples these days that don't appreciate the foundation of marriage, that don't appreciate and respect the institution of marriage. There's people that get married and divorced. I know somebody who got married and then came back from their honeymoon separated. I said, well, then why'd you get married? I don't know, they said. Like, I don't understand that. People who get divorced in a year, why did you get married? There's people who get married and then run around on their spouses. Like, then why'd you get married? Don't do it. It's just a piece of paper. If you don't want to commit to them, don't do it. Don't do it. That's the advice I always give to people. How'd I break out of the friend zone? Let me tell you something. Look at this face. She couldn't say no to it. That's how I broke out of the friend zone. It drove her absolutely nuts. No, look, if you go back and watch the live stream I did with Mrs. Fringe, you'll see how I broke out of the friend zone. People said it throughout the whole stream. We love that you're a little more light beaded and sarcastic and jokey when you're around her. She loves my personality. She knew I was interested in her from day one. I'll tell you right now, I was 16 when I met her. 16 years old, just about to turn 17. And she passed me in the hall in our high school with a couple of friends. I was eating lunch with some people. And it's funny because I have a photographic memory I have a pornographic memory too, but she passed me in the hallway. And I can tell people to this day she was wearing this red rose black skirt. The old 90s, you remember in the 90s they had the striped tight sweaters that girls always wore. She had a black and white striped sweater she was wearing on top, the 90s style, grunge style, whatever you want to call it. And she walked right past me and it was like time stopped. It was like it froze. And that's what I always tell my wife, that's how I know that I don't believe in fate. I don't believe in, astrology and all those things and predicting the future's already written. But she literally stopped time when she walked past me. And I looked at her and she had this terrible scowl. She looked in my direction with this mean kind of like, what the hell are you looking at scowl? And I smacked my friend next to me and I said, who the hell is that? And he said, that's Tiffany. And I said, look at that look on her face. And he says, yeah. And I said, somebody's got to bang that look off of her face. I'm going to be the guy that does it. And now I know that's crass, but I was 16. And I'm telling you, that's the way it went down. And I chased her for a couple of weeks. I said to her, let's get together. We stayed as friends. We dated a bit in high school and then broke apart, but again, stayed friends over the years and became best friends before we got back together, moved in together, and got married. But it's it's definitely the funniest story about how we met. And it's really funny because I was in fact driving around town today with my kids, showing them the high school where I met their mom and where I used to live, where their mom used to live. Because it was too hot to be outside, so we're in the air-conditioned car trying to find things to do, and that's where I met my wife, and I couldn't imagine living in a world without her. I really couldn't. I went to Manitoba back in May for a high school reunion from the high school I attended before I moved to Calgary, and even while I was gone for those few days, I said to my wife that I was literally just killing time when I had nothing to do until it was time to go to this reunion. And I said, if we weren't together, that would be my life. It would all just be killing time. But one of the biggest things I've screwed up on, and one of the biggest places where I've got to make fixtures, where I've got to fix things, is I've told her I have this terrible habit of always looking at the future that I'm never appreciating the moment that we're in right now. And that's what I meant about when I was talking about that bag you're carrying. If you focus on the now and glass half full. I talked to one of my friends today who lost a significant amount of money in investments. And he says, but on the good side, I'm not going to say what he said because it was kind of graphic, but his partner made it up to him. And I said, hey, glass half full. That's the way we have to look at life. Glass half full. Just keep looking at it half full. Somebody's dropping in. Jasper is being evacuated. Seriously, is there fires in Jasper now? Are they being evacuated? Is that my only ex-hubby wanted to leave me for a girl who was 18 years younger. He even let us go, mom and son, to relocate in Canada so he could have a chance with her. He didn't respect the vows. I'm sorry to hear that, Extreme. It's terrible. Jasper's not on fire. Hey, Jasper, welcome into the stream. Jasper's not on fire. There's guys, it's over. Yeah, you'll get the joke. It's over. No, Jasper's not on fire. No, Jasper, Alberta, I'm guessing, is what they're talking about. But yes, there are fires in Jasper. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'll have to check that out. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that happen. And that's an unfortunate part of marriage, that sometimes people just don't respect, the institutions. And that happens. I mean, look, there's been some missteps in my marriage that maybe don't go as far as what you're talking, but there's times my wife has said, I'm sorry I didn't tell you about these things, or I screwed up, I dropped the ball on something. And I keep telling her, look, like again, we both battle our demons. Mine specifically with depression and things and anxiety. And I've told her, look, you've stuck with me when we have bad times, and I'm sticking with you. I made a vow, in good times and bad, richer or poorer, sickness and health, till death do we part. That's the vow. I'm here for the long haul. I ain't going nowhere unless you physically try to unalive me or, take all my money and run. I'm here. I'm here. That's how it's got to work. Did I mention Jasper Sunshine was in the chat? Welcome into Jasper. I did, but I'm just throwing it in there again. Welcome into the stream. You guys should really check out Jasper's live streams. He started live streaming a couple times a week, and he's got some really good live streams. I tried to get in and watch his live streams when I was in the US last week, and I just couldn't get a good connection, but he does have some great shows. You guys should go check that out. It's good to see him live streaming again, because he used to just do his House of Canada live streams. In fact, speaking of House of Canada, one of the things about Pierre Poilievre that I thought was funny was when I was talking to his people in Calgary, they had mentioned that not only do they watch the pleb, and we all know that he acknowledged the pleb, they watch our channel here at Unacceptable Fringe, but they stream House of Canada's live streams in the House of Commons behind the scenes so that they can see what people are saying during the live streams. And they even told me they got to put their W's in the chat. So kudos to Jasper for pulling in the Conservative Party of Alberta to watch his live streams. I mean, that's amazing. I think that's absolutely fantastic. What we got here, it's hard to tell how severe it is. I mean, they put out alerts and overreach all the time. They do, so I'll keep my eyes on it and we'll talk about it if it gets out of control. Wayne Reimer says, Mr. Sunshine Baby, I like your channel. I like his channel too. I'm a big fan of Jasper's. I mean, we're friends, so of course I like Jasper's channel. But hey, that's I like House of Canada during question period. It's hilarious. I love watching question period whenever I can. I thought about streaming it at one point, but then the only reason I didn't get into it was because I can't watch Jasper if I'm live streaming question period. So I never got into it. But that's and I don't want to pull away from Jasper. That's not that I would. I mean, that guy's a powerhouse. But my wife and I piss each other off as much as possible. It keeps it fun. Hey, I agree. Look, my wife and I are very sarcastic. We're very, very sarcastic, sporadic people. We used to joke around with our friends when they said, how do you make your marriage last so long? I said, we've broken it down to having hall sex where we both pass each other in the hall and say, F you. I mean, those are just jokes. People think that we legitimately fight all the time because we take shots at each other in a joking manner when we're around each other. We have a very healthy, funny marriage. And what's hilarious, like even over this last week on vacation, I'm sitting in the car with my wife telling her I can't stop looking at her. We've had this rekindling in our relationship over the last few weeks, where it's almost like we just started dating again. I don't know why you get these spurts or these spunks, but as we've been working on, again, with myself dropping that bag I was talking about, you start building a tighter connection. And that's again, after, 18 years of marriage and almost 30 years of knowing each other. I mean, it's so refreshing to know that we still have that connection after all those years, that we can see each other like that. There's House of Canada. There's Jasper coming in. W's in the chat. Get those W's in the chat, guys. That's funny. It's cool to see politicians keeping an eye on the real-time pulse. Again, I mentioned it in the live stream. The only thing I didn't like was when they said, well, we have to distance ourselves from you guys because it's bad for our numbers. It's like, well, what? So we can toe the line and give your messaging, but we're not good enough to talk to? Like, give me a break. Come on. It's confirmed 9:59 p.m. The alert went out. Jasper to evacuate now. Highway 16 to BC, it says. My goodness. So Highway 16 actually runs right out of Spruce Grove where we may be moving. But that does head into Jasper territory. So, wow, that's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Roman Patriot with a $2 super sticker. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. I thought as soon as I saw confirmed, I thought somebody was going to say confirmed Joe Biden is no longer with us. And so I want to get back to I want to get back to Joe Biden. I promised viewers earlier we were going to get off these questions and me talking like I'm Dr. Phil. Now, Dr. Phil, I can't really do a good Dr. Phil McGraw. Okay. But I want to get back into Joe Biden. Basematic saying, we still haven't seen Biden. Really? No. And here's mystical with the confirmation. Joe Biden is a zombie. Look, I want proof of life here. We need it at this point. I am very convinced that when you look at that letter that Joe was stepping down and the fact that he said, oh, I got COVID. I can't come out. Come on. That's no way. God, it is hotter than Satan's butthole in this basement. Are you guys getting as much heat as we are? I know this is what the liberals were talking about. 20 hours in the car, 10 hours, no bathroom breaks while the planet burns. Global boiling. Are you guys getting it this hot across the country? 38 degrees almost in Calgary today. My daughter had a funny statement today because I got out. I had to go to Costco to pick up some things today, and I got out and said, "God, it's so hot," because that hot air just slaps you in the face. And my daughter's like, "That hot air just comes from the sun farting." That's it's like, what? She says, "Yeah, we talked about it in school and told the teachers that hot air comes down because the sun farts and it ruins everybody's day, and it doesn't smell, it just wrecks everything for everybody." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, for a 9-year-old, you're very involved with how the sun passes gas." But hey, that's your Dr. Phil ain't that bad. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's Mystical. I got a fan. We have one of those portable AC units, like the room AC units, but my wife, because she's a jerk, snuck off with it up to our bedroom, and it's locked in my bedroom. So she's got a nice cool bed to sleep in. I'll have one to sleep in later on, but and that's not even a pun saying that it's a cold bed because of our marriage or something. No, it's the only cold room of the house. In fact, I have all of my kids sleeping on the floor in that room like it's a youth hostel because it's the only cold room in the house right now. Bad anger management. My brother jumping in with a $24.99 super sticker. John, thank you for that. My God, I appreciate that, brother. His dementia is just too much to deal with. Yeah. Well, but here's the thing. When you look at Jill having to walk him off the stage after the debate to shake the hands of the moderators, and he couldn't even get down one step. It was a one-step stage. Trump turned around, walked out immediately. "No problem. I'm the best at walking off stages, believe me." But then Joe Biden can't even get down off a single step. And I kept saying, this is elder abuse. You can't do this. Like, they're just pulling a zombie along, trying to get him to push the bill for them. You can't do that. Come on. Come on, man. That's what Joe would say, isn't it? Come on, man. But they're struggling along, a dead man walking. How? Like Christopher Walken. But now Joe Biden hasn't been seen for multiple days. What is it? 5 days now? 6 days? We're going on 6 days since he landed in Delaware, was it? He claims he has the coof. Yeah, right. He says he's standing down. He can't even do like a video. We know he's not tweeting. He's not in charge of his social media. Somebody else does that for him. Is it 6 days? There we go. 6 days. There we go. My Diet Pepsi is warm now. It's so gross. What's he going to say when he wakes up and realizes he's not running anymore? I mean, the dementia kicked in, right? Like, it was the dementia's fault. No, Kamala to the rescue. No, I'm thinking it's going to be Big Mike. Good old Michelle Obama. It's going to be insane. The thing is that it doesn't matter who comes in right now, who gets the nomination. Again, I'll point this out. I said it at the beginning of the stream. Whether it's Kamala Harris, Hillary, or Big Mike, no, I do not believe Michelle Obama's a man. I just say Big Mike because it's the meme going around. I don't think any of them can possibly put a campaign together fast enough to beat Donald Trump. Eat me with a $5 super chat. The letter does not have the presidential seal. Sounds like a push Hillary endorsed Kamala, and the Obama faction doesn't. The Obama faction doesn't real life Game of Thrones. It's going to get vicious. It's going to be vicious. That nomination process, I mean, whatever your popcorn you're eating, get lots of it, because it's going to be, again, I don't pay a lot of attention to American politics, but the squabbling of 3 women trying to get the presidential nomination is going to be hilarious. He'll say, "Come on, man, Corn Pop, do this." While the kids are rubbing the water beads down his leg. Corn Pop was a bad dude. Oh, I got to wear my hoodie while having coffee this morning. It was great. Oh, blow me. And I can say that because it's my brother. God. Not that I'd want him to, but I'm saying he can't take offense because he's my brother. Be like Mike. Everybody wants to be like Mike. Who's going to watch the new Deadpool movie? Listen, I've got my tickets for Deadpool. I'm going with the wife on Sunday. We're going to what's called a VIP cinema. So they actually serve alcohol while you're watching movies and stuff in this theater. I've never been there, but I can't wait. It's adult 18 plus only theater. So there's no kids in there. Obviously, there wouldn't be kids for a Deadpool movie. But what really sucks is I couldn't get the tickets until Sunday. So I'm basically going to have to stay off of the internet Friday and Saturday to avoid spoilers. I can't wait to see Deadpool Wolverine. It's going to be great. It's going to be absolutely great. Salty balls popcorn, obviously. So when we were in the United States, we went to Costco and they had Reese's peanut butter cup or Reese's Pieces popcorn. So it's just regular popcorn with Reese's chocolate melted on it. And I'm telling you right now, it is dangerous. It is so dangerous. We bought 3 bags. I think we're down to the last half of the last bag in less than a week. Very dangerous. I hope they don't get that stuff in Canada. It's I'm gonna gain so much weight just eating that stuff. Master Snatch, good rule of follow: never screw with someone who has to launder more money for you. There you go. Roman Patriot, the VIP is lit. You guys will have a grand time. OMG. Hey, listen. They opened up one near where I live a few years back, and I've never had the chance to go there. My wife and I, well, I guess it was pre-pandemic, but my wife and I don't really go to movies very often. In fact, part of the thing with our kids is that we never really go on dates very often, and that might be part of the problem with us trying to rekindle things lately and find that new spark I was talking about, where it feels like we're starting to date again. Because I can count on a single hand the amount of times my wife and I have been out without children since my first daughter was born. And that was almost 10 years ago in August. So, I mean, we just love our kids and we don't really get out that often, but then pandemic and everything else included, we don't do the movies unless, again, we're taking the kids. We like to include the kids, but this is one of those days where it's no kids. We're going to get out. We're going to have some fun. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be great. Try the turtle Chex Mix. Oh, don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. Where is that theater? That theater is in Southeast Calgary near the new hospital. I think it's called Seton. I think they call it Seton. Looks amazing. I've never been there. I don't live near Seton, but it's a closer drive than other places to go. I'm not going to dox myself, but but yes, we're going to the Seton theaters on Sunday. So if you guys want to come there and say hi, we'll be there. We'll be there Sunday at 7. Reese's popcorn, delicious way to die. Let me tell you something. Unless it was, I can't be that crude. Yes, that is a delicious way to die. I was going to say something really nasty there. They finished the new hospital. Yeah, they finished it a while ago. Seton's been to that theater. Lots of feral rabbits there. Okay, great. Good to know. Good to know. I'll keep my eyes peeled. My goodness. That's a little, that's crazy. My bad. Walking. Sometimes you go to the movies, you're walking around, these guys, the popcorn, putting on the butter. It's crazy. I'm not drunk enough to do Christopher Walken. I can't do that tonight. Don't let that hot date make another kid right now. Listen, we're very fortunate. When my wife and I had my second child, my son Wade, who is also named after Deadpool, there were complications, and they told us when we were having after we had Wade, like we almost lost my wife and Wade on the table by milliseconds. It was literally seconds. But they told us if you have any more kids, there's going to be risks. We have to do C-section. And my wife said, if we have any other kids, I always wanted 3. 3 is my number. And I just said, look, we won't plan for it. If it happens, it happens. And it did happen because I can't keep my hands to myself. And she forced me against my will. So we had my third child, Steve Rogers. And while they were doing the C-section, my wife said, just snip the tubes. So she said, I'll save you the trip to the doctor. They're in there already. So we cannot have any more children. It's Roman, it was very scary. So what was funny about that, like I again suffer extreme social anxiety, and my mother-in-law usually can keep me pretty calm when it comes to situations with high intensity like that. So she was there aside from my youngest Steve because of the pandemic. My mother-in-law was there every childbirth that we had. And when they were coming in to look at my wife's condition when they rushed her in for the C-section with Wade, they came in and they started saying, oh, we can't find a heartbeat. Maybe a sensor's out of place for the baby. And I'd been up all night. I was slipping in and out of consciousness because I was so exhausted. And, my wife was doing nothing. But, I started to get a little paranoid because one doctor came in, then another came in, then another came in, and they were switching off. And my mother-in-law came and grabbed me because she saw me getting tense. And she said, listen, until a whole bunch of doctors come in at once, you don't have to worry. This is totally normal. And as soon as she said that, a whole bunch of doctors came in and said, we got to move you right now. We got to do a C-section. He was breech with the tube wrapped around, but the placenta almost burst, which would have instantly killed both of them. And it was hanging on by a thread, they said. And in fact, when they got it out, they had to use suction because it was milliseconds from being shredded. We didn't realize how critical it was until after everything was done. She was stitched back up and we were in recovery. And the doctor came in and said it was literally milliseconds that we avoided losing both of them. And that was an eye opener. But luckily, everybody was healthy. There was no issues, no problems, no muss, no fuss. And my son Steve was so good because it was just, when do you want to go to the hospital and have a C-section? And we picked a day. My wife did want to wait until she went into actual labor. She didn't want to go early or risk anything. So once she went into labor, we just went to the hospital, had the C-section, and it was all done, easy peasy. But yeah, all three of my kids, we were all. It's funny because my kids' school always laughs at us because all my children's first and middle names are after comic book characters because we're such nerds in this house. I don't know if you guys could tell that. I've mentioned it before. Like my firstborn was Harley. We've named her Harley Quinn. First and middle name. My second son, Wade Wilson. And then we had Steve Rogers on May 31st of 2020. And that was our lovely family. And every time we go to the school, they think it's so great that the kids are named that. My kids don't think it's so great. But I can tell you one thing, that my daughter definitely lives up to her name. And my son Wade is definitely a handful and a mouthpiece. And he's starting to live up to his name as well. But we like to have fun in this house. We have fun. That's how we roll. Colin's saying wildfires are like crazy now. Is he referring to Jasper? Is that what we're doing? In fact, when my son Wade was turning 1, we went to Comic-Con that year. Rob Liefeld, the creator of Deadpool, was at that convention, and I had a VIP pass that year because Michael J. Fox was coming to Comic-Con. I wanted to make sure I could get my Back to the Future stuff signed by him. So I paid extra to get a front of line pass, and we went and saw Rob Liefeld, and actually we saw him on Wade's first birthday, and I took him with me to get my final issue of Deadpool signed. And when I talked to Rob and said, this is my son Wade, he stopped for a second and said, oh, that's cool because Deadpool's named after Wade. And I said, his middle name's Wilson. And he stopped and he's like, no. And I said, yeah, I named him after Deadpool. But if you guys follow comics, there's a joke with Rob Liefeld that he can't draw feet. But I said to Rob Liefeld, out of everything, I have to say his feet look the best. And Rob had a good laugh. And he ended up signing a whole bunch of extra stuff for us. He didn't believe me. And then I pulled out my son's healthcare card and showed him, and he's like, oh my God. He was so flattered, and he signed a whole bunch of stuff for us to take home. We framed all of it, and that's something my son Wade will get to keep. So that's that was a fun Comic-Con. Meeting Michael J. Fox was pretty cool too, but that was an amazing Comic-Con. It's fun is in the house. So great. You're restoring my faith in humanity. Listen, you got to live a little. And that's why I love it whenever somebody in the comments on a video says, dude, you got to grow up and get rid of the arcades and you got to this. Nobody's going to take you serious. I'm not here to impress anybody. I really don't care. I love the life that I have with my kids. I love that I'm a big kid. My kids love that they came downstairs a couple months ago when I got into Fortnite with my brother. And they're like, "You're playing Fortnite?" And it's like, "Yeah, I mean, I kind of got into it." And then they like those kind of things. So it's all things that we can kind of mesh with together and have together. It makes for a happy home. And anytime I got to talk to my kids about things, they're always happy to tell me when they got problems. They can come to me about anything. They know they're not going to be judged. We're like pals. I think that's the best way to do it. It's my boy named after family, my girl named after a flower, a really cool one, not Rose or anything. Reg, don't tell the government about the fires or the carbon tax will go up again. Maybe we're not paying enough carbon tax. I mean, who was it? Mark Holland said, we're all going to watch the planet burn. It's another summer of wildfires. I mean, look, fires happen. The Jasper one, I'm willing to bet is negligence at best, or the extreme weather. It does happen, dry season. I mean, as I drove through British Columbia on the way back from the US, you can see the sign saying there's fire bans province wide. People who are camping are not allowed to have any kind of fires. It's off the books because it's so dry. So these things do happen. Where's Randy? I tweeted out the other day, he's been hanging around a lot of kids. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. Randy's been hanging around a lot of kids lately. And I was asking him, why are you always around children? Like, where are their parents? Are they not concerned about you hanging out with all these kids? It's disgusting. You guys are amazing parents, though. Listen, come live in my house for a day or two and say that. You'll change your mind quickly. It's I like your studio. It's different from other YouTubers. Well, look, it's this again. This is my family room. This isn't really my studio. This is as soon as I'm done this live stream, all this equipment goes back into my spare bedroom until the next time I'm ready to film. And this is where I hang out with my kids. This is this is not really a studio. Although when we move into a bigger house, then yes, I will actually have a studio. The arcades might disappear because they'll be in a different part of my house. But I'm going to put together a studio that's just as nerdy as this in the next place. If you guys think I'm going to go straight and say, like, legit and say, oh, I got to look more like an adult, I got to be more sophisticated while being on YouTube. Nah, get out of here. I'm going to have some fun with my background. It's going to be great. Can't wait to get into that. We've got fire bans out the rear, and yet we have idiots lighting off fireworks in residential areas. Yeah, I hear you, brother. Listen, they got the whole way back through Chilliwack all the way into Golden, BC, where we say every time we pass a town, fire bans in effect. It's just dry. It's a very dry season. Even in Alberta, we haven't had rain since about early June. So not much we can do about it. Mystical's humming Weird Al's white and nerdy. I am white and nerdy. I don't care. I don't care. Get a life-size Deadpool that would look wicked in the corner. That would be very expensive, very costly. I'm gonna get something cool. It's I've got lots of cool props I could put behind me on shelves for the next studio. So like I've got a lot of Back to the Future 2 memorabilia. I've got the hoverboard. I've got the 2015 jacket that auto dries. The Nikes. I've got lightsabers from Doc Ondars and Disney, like legitimate movie prop scale lightsabers that work. All sorts of video game memorabilia, toys, different stuff that I've collected over the years. It's going to look really cool what I put together. I don't know if it'll be arcades behind me, but I'll definitely have shelves with some cool stuff. Like I've got, if you watch the Marvel movies, I've got the cool little box thing that says proof Tony Stark has a heart with a light up reactor cube thing. I've got all kinds of cool little knickknacks that I think would look really good on a shelf while doing streams, videos, and live streams. I think I could have some cool. So Rose is a Back to the Future fan, apparently. So one of the cool pieces that I have in a frame is my autographed Gray's Sports Almanac that is signed by the main cast, Tom Wilson, who played Biff, Michael J. Fox, and of course, Christopher Lloyd. All their signatures sitting on the front cover of that, which I got at Comic-Con. I love that about Comic-Con is it gives me the opportunity to get those things, and that is definitely one piece of cherished memorabilia in my collection that I will never part with. It's my proton pack. God, I didn't even think of my proton pack. I've got a life-size replica proton pack. If you guys were members, not members, but viewers of the channel about a year ago, I got my proton pack in from HasLab. I'm probably going to mount that on the wall wherever. Rose says, shut up. Are you talking about the proton pack or the you're talking about the proton pack or the Gray Sports Almanac? The Sask Fire website shows many fires were man-made, about 80% lightning, 10% man-made. Wow, confirmed. Yeah, it's either nature or it's negligence. And a lot of times in Alberta, it's negligence when we see those fires. People who don't put out their campfires properly or leave cigarette butts, or again, like my brother mentioned, they shoot off fireworks or do something stupid and they don't really think about what they're doing. It's her nickname is Amy. That's so cool. There we go. 3 weeks ago, Declare, aka Highway 15, got flooded back in 1988. There you go. So I'm gonna start wrapping up the stream because we're getting late into the evening here. I still have to film some videos for you guys, but one thing I will do, because I was just talking about it, I'll show you guys, for anybody who missed that video. I'm moving away from my mic. I'll show you guys my proton pack before we break. Because believe it or not, it actually sits right next to me when I wheel out my desk. This is my Ghostbusters Afterlife proton pack, full replica, working. Let me see if my kids have ran out the batteries. Where's the switch? There, you can see the lighting is working with it. All the lights are on. Fully unlicensed nuclear accelerator. Absolutely love it. But the cool thing about it is hang on. My kids play around with this stuff sometimes. So if you take the Neutrino wand off of it and you fire it up, I got to keep the pack level here while I do this. You fire up the Neutrino wand. Hang on one sec. I got to get my Neutrino wand working. Hang on one second. Let me. I think my kids did something to my Neutrino wand. Well, there we go. So the Neutrino wand fires up, and you'll hear. So you can hear it actually start up. You can do the intensity, and then if I hit the little, oh, there we go. So I'll put the speaker up, and that'll actually shut off the pack as well. It's quite the piece of tech. My wife ordered it for me because I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan. In fact, she told me that with my Ghostbusters flight suit, this is going to be my Halloween costume for the next 20 years. I'm happy about that. It's so some cool nerd stuff like that'll definitely be in my backdrop when we move. As he pulls the wand out, it went blah. There you go. That's gonna about do it for tonight's stream, ladies and gentlemen. Again, it was kind of a fun little surprise stream. Again, I didn't have the really intention of doing a live stream tonight, but I wanted to play that Donald Trump game, and I kind of thought, hey, that'll be fun. If you missed it, go back, watch it in the live stream. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe to the channel, turn on your bell for notifications. I'll be back here Friday night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central for Friday Night Fringe. If you guys like this stream, maybe we'll do more streams like this in the future. Again, maybe I'll play some retro games and just hang out and chill with you guys. Let me know in the chat either now or afterwards. Is the DeLorean parked outside? Listen, that thing got up to 88 miles per hour and you saw some serious shit. It's gone. But if you guys enjoyed it, let me know in the chat or let me know in the comments afterwards if you want to see more streams like this. I had a lot of fun. It's always good to come here and just not necessarily talk politics all the time. Just kind of answer your questions and have some fun. I'm certainly not that interesting by any aspect, but it was fun to sit here and talk about life, to talk about positive ways to move forward in life, to talk a little bit about politics, and then talk about some nerd stuff. I always enjoy talking my hobbies with you guys. That's always fun to get on that personal scale. Always fun. Always fun. Hope you guys have a great evening. Thank you again to everybody who came out tonight, everybody who super chatted on the stream, everybody who sent super stickers. Really appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Please stay tuned for future videos. They're going to be coming all week long, and I can't wait to send them out to you guys. Have yourselves a lovely week. Stay cool if you can, and I will catch you on the next one, ladies and gentlemen.